What's going on, guys? Curtis, Thatturbodakota. I'm going to put a line lock in the truck, and I figure I kind of videotape it. Sure, why not? Yeah, believe it or not, this thing has never had a line lock in it. Probably isn't the best idea. It's a little bit hard on the brakes. But actually, at some point in time, I took and switched the master cylinder circuits so it had priority over the rear of the truck and in the front once I put the strange brakes on it. But I've had this solenoid for a really long time. Went ahead and ordered a black steering wheel button. So I figure might as well put the thing in, right? So what I'm going to do is I got to take the tire off. I'm going to pull the fender liner out, figure out where to mount the thing. I'm trying to mount it in a good spot. Thought about maybe drill and tapping the frame. Not sure yet, but I got to figure that out. But I'm going to get the tire and the wheel liner out of it, and then I'm going to get the brake fluid drained out of it because I hate doing brake lines and I hate brake fluid, and the stuff's nasty and it erodes paint. You just got to be careful. So I'd rather just drain all the brake fluid out the front since I got to pull the lines apart. I think that's the best thing to do. So let me go ahead and tear it apart, and we'll figure out a spot to mount this thing, and we'll just go from there. See you in a bit. Okay, sometime later. So what I did is I mounted it, I drilled and I tapped the frame and mounted it there. Plenty of clearance from the tire. And then you've got, so for the front segment, this line right here, and that's kind of hard to see because it's a cluster 3. Coming down right here, in, then back out, and it goes to the front. That's it. Next thing we're gonna do is concentrating on wiring it up. Then we'll also have to bleed the brakes and all that stuff, but that's pretty obvious. So let me keep on trucking along. I'm gonna give you a couple updates and show you some stuff. Okay, I about got this thing all wrapped up. So I wanted to go through like how I wired the stupid thing. So you can see my solenoid tapped, and I think we already went over the lines. So as far as the solenoid goes, grounds it just right to the bracket, right? There's no problems there. And what I decided to do was use an existing relay in my box. Now, because I have the Holley, there's like a lot in here that I'm not using. So we're gonna use this one right here, which was the old fuel pump relay, because we're not using that anymore. Holley's turning the fuel pump on and off. So what I like to do is take and kind of show you guys what that looks like. But before I do that, never forget to line lock. Never forget to mark those things. So we'll go to our drawing board over here. So here's what that looks like on that relay. In fact, let's see here. I'm trying to find a factory. There we go. So that's what that looks like. So the two big terminals right here. So when you look down at your box, you're gonna have obviously a female, and then 1, 2, and 3, like this. So one of these are gonna be 12-volt power all the time, which I believe is that one, right? And then this one right here will be 2 line lock. And that's this one right here. So 12-volt all the time, 2 line lock. And then these 2 outer ones, one of them is going to be 12-volt power key on, KO key on, which is this one right here. And then this one right here is going to be to the button. And then at the button, you have 2 wires. One of them you just put straight to ground, and then the other side of the button you actually run all the way to here. So hopefully that makes sense. I know it's kind of hard to see, but what I do is I take my test light, and with the key off, I'm getting power on this terminal right here, which is that outside one. So I'll pull it up. So with the test light, this one's hot right here, this outside one, and then this one right here is going to the solenoid. And then the top one's got key on with the battery, this guy right here, right? And the bottom one's to the button. And that's it. I think a lot of people, and I've noticed I had a couple people I've helped wire Holley with, Holley and a Dakota. And I was glad I could help get up and running. And it's crazy, it's normally everybody has the same thing in common, is where they goof up is the key on power, right? So what I mean by key on power is when I turn the key on, you have power to that solenoid, right? So we'll have power to the solenoid. In fact, I'm going to show you guys. If I can get my test light. It's hard to do with one hand. So this gets really more often than not. And I'm not picking on any of my boys I've helped. I'm just glad their trucks are running. So right now, right? So that's key off. Like I was telling you, that outside one right there, and then this one right here. So notice no test lights lit up. So if I go in here and I key the truck on, so now the truck's on. Now, so we've got power. Let's see if I can prop that right there. Nope. But anyway, and then not only that is while it's cranking and running, it also has power. And what I've seen is some of these Holley installs is that's not the case. It might have power, it'll have power with the key on, but then when you get a crank and run, it doesn't have power. And so, the MSD box in your Dakota, MSD box and a Holley both need key on power while cranking and running. And then obviously when you turn the key off, the power disappears. So that's one of my best tips that I can give you guys as far as things that I've seen not allow trucks to start. They'll start and shut off. And the reason why is when they let off the spring load part of the key, like technically when you hit the key twice, the key's on, it should have power. So what's happening is as they're cranking, it's got power, and when you stop cranking, the key springs back. Technically, the key's still on. They lose power, and they're like, "Oh, why won't my truck start? Like my truck won't on, my truck won't run." It fires for a split second, shuts off. Well, that's why. So be very mindful of that. You can get a cheap test light almost anywhere to be able to check that. But when I say key on power, I'm talking like past accessory to the run position. While cranking, it's got power, and in the run position, it still has power. Off is off. So keep that in mind. But anyway, that's the one to show you how to wire that thing real quick. I've got to put the fender liner in, put the wheel on, and we bled the brakes. I'm pretty happy with it. I didn't have any connectors. I was going to put some connectors in it all over the place. I still might order one for the button. So the button's nothing special. It's going to go right there. So I'm actually probably going to switch steering wheels, which actually we need to talk about that too. There's come to find out this whole entire time I've had the wrong adapter. So like multiple videos ago, we get into, I was showing you how to put, I had that 13-inch, that special edition Cletus MPI wheel right here. And come to find out, the adapter works, but it's not right. And the reason why it's not right is you can't run a clock spring. And then if you have the clock spring, you can make your horn work and your turn signals self-cancel. With that adapter, even though it works, your turn signals don't cancel. I care about that because it gets annoying because next thing you know, I'm driving around with my blinker all the time and it's just annoying. But at some point, I'm going to order the right one. But I'm going to put that steering wheel back in for now so we can get all that stuff done and over with. Well, let me get this thing buttoned up, and then I think we should test it out. It just seems like the right thing. So I'll see you guys back in a little bit. Okay, we're going to try this thing out. So we're going to hit the brake, hold the button, and release the brake. And there it is. See all the smoke? Good job. All right, guys, success. I'm going to end that one off for here. Rexon says, say bye-bye. Say bye. Now he doesn't know what to think. See you guys later.